Imagine living alone in your house every night. But what if someone was already inside, not hiding for a few hours, not hiding for one night? It sounds impossible, like something from a horror movie. But in Denver, Colorado, it actually happened. The newspapers gave the mysterious intruder a name no one would forget: the Spider-Man of Denver. A man who turned an ordinary home into one of America's strangest crime scenes. In the early 1940s, Denver was growing fast. It was the kind of city where serious crime rarely made national headlines. Among those residents was a retired railroad worker named Philip Peters. He was well known in his neighborhood. Friends described him as polite, quiet, and dependable. His wife, Helen, had recently been hospitalized after suffering a serious injury. While she recovered, Philip stayed alone in their home. Life had become peaceful, simple, predictable. At least, that's what everyone believed. Several years earlier, Philip had met a man named Theodore Coneys. Coneys wasn't a close friend, more of an occasional acquaintance. Life hadn't been kind to him. He struggled to keep steady work. Money was always short. He often depended on temporary jobs or the kindness of others. Philip had helped him before, sometimes offering food, sometimes offering small amounts of money. But eventually, the visits became less frequent. Years passed. The two men drifted apart. No one imagined their paths would cross again. By 1941, Theodore Coneys had nowhere stable to live. Instead of asking for help, he made an extraordinary decision. He secretly entered Philip Peters' house, not to stay for one night, not even for 1 week. He discovered a narrow crawl space hidden above the ceiling. It was cramped, dark, barely large enough for a person. Most homeowners would never even notice it. To Coneys, it became the perfect hiding place. During the day, he stayed completely silent. At night, when the house became quiet, he climbed down. He searched the kitchen, ate whatever food he could find, drank water, then quietly returned to the tiny space above the ceiling before morning arrived. For days, no one noticed. Then days became weeks, and weeks became months. Philip had absolutely no idea that another man was living only a few feet above his head. Soon, small things started happening. Food disappeared faster than expected. Objects weren't exactly where Philip remembered leaving them. Sometimes, a chair seemed slightly moved. Other times, a cupboard door was left open. Nothing dramatic, nothing anyone would immediately report to police. Philip assumed he was simply forgetting things. After all, he was living alone. His wife was still recovering. Stress could easily explain small mistakes, but those weren't mistakes. Someone else was sharing the house without permission, without making a sound. One October evening, Philip returned home as usual. He walked toward the kitchen. Then he froze. Someone was standing inside his house. For just a second, neither man moved. Philip immediately recognized him. It was Theodore Coneys, the man he had once helped. No one knows exactly what was said during those first moments, but investigators later believed an argument quickly followed. Coneys knew something important. If Philip escaped, everything would be over. His secret hiding place would be discovered. What happened next transformed a hidden trespass into one of Colorado's most infamous criminal cases. When neighbors later became concerned, police were called to the house. Inside, investigators found Philip dead. The attacker was nowhere to be found. There were no signs anyone had run out the front door, no broken windows, no obvious escape route. It was as though the suspect had simply vanished. Detectives searched every room, every closet, every corner of the basement. Nothing. No suspect, no witness, no explanation. The investigation quickly stalled. Meanwhile, Helen Peters eventually returned after recovering from the hospital. She tried to continue her life inside the same home, but something felt wrong. Food continued disappearing. Strange noises echoed through the ceiling at night. Sometimes, she believed someone was walking above her. Friends blamed old wooden floors. Others believed grief was affecting her. But Helen couldn't shake the feeling. Someone else was still inside the house. And she was right. After Philip Peter's death, the mystery only grew deeper. His wife, Helen, eventually returned home, but almost immediately, she noticed strange things. Food kept disappearing. Objects were no longer where she had left them. Late at night, she heard footsteps above the ceiling. Friends blamed stress. Others thought the old house was haunted. Unable to live with the fear, Helen moved out. Yet neighbors still reported seeing lights inside the supposedly empty house. Someone was still there. Months later, police searched the house again. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then, one officer noticed fresh food in the kitchen. Someone had been there recently. Upstairs, a small opening inside a closet caught their attention. As they looked up, they saw movement. Officers grabbed the man's legs and pulled him out of the hidden crawl space. The mystery was finally over. The man hiding inside the house was Theodore Coneys. He had secretly lived above the ceiling for months, sneaking down at night for food before disappearing back into the tiny space. During questioning, Coneys admitted everything. He had entered the house because he had nowhere else to live. When Philip unexpectedly discovered him, a violent confrontation followed. Afterward, instead of running away, Coneys returned to the crawl space, believing no one would ever think to search there. Surprisingly, he was right. Police searched the house several times without finding him. That unbelievable hiding place earned him the nickname the Spider-Man of Denver. Coneys was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. The Peters family finally received answers, but the case never faded from history. Even today, the Spider-Man of Denver remains one of Colorado's strangest true crime stories. Not because he could climb walls like a superhero, but because he spent months living inside a house without anyone realizing he was there. Sometimes, the most terrifying stories don't happen in abandoned buildings. They happen in places that feel completely safe. The Spider-Man of Denver wasn't remembered for who he was remembered for where he hid. And that single secret turned an ordinary home into one of America's most unforgettable crime scenes. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to subscribe, because the next true crime story may be even stranger than this one.